They say in Hollywood, the show must go on. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for making it. I really do appreciate it. I am Filiberto Gonzalez, your humble servant. And I feel very much a part of the SM Tulsa community. That's how I feel. What do you think, Sharon?
Absolutely.
This is my second year here. I made connections. I've made friends that have lasted all this time. So I really do feel good about coming back, and I jumped at the chance to return. You all should be able to get your hands on this. I always make a point of saying that, so you don't have to take copious notes, because Cheryl should provide this to you, and then you all can get everything thereafter. But here's just a little bit about me. Here's some of the points that we're going to cover today. What is social media? You don't want anyone to ever say you're doing it wrong. And we're going to cover what you need to get started. There's a big difference between using social media for yourself and using social media for a group or an organization. We're going to talk about that, the difference. And bottom line, search, engage, mobilize. You're doing this for some greater purpose, and we'll finish on that. I'm going to focus mainly on 3 tools, which I think we all can appreciate. We'll have 83 slides, and all 75 are going to be on social media tips, but 100% of it is going to be fun. I can assure you that. Does anybody know this guy? Grumpy Cat. There was a line around the block, I think 2 times over, at South by Southwest, to take pictures with the real life Grumpy Cat. And he already looks like this anyway, but he looked particularly upset. Poor kid, poor guy. Okay, before we get started, let's answer the question I get often here. Why does my group need to build followers on social media? Why do you need to actually build followers? Because really, what I focus on in social media is the purpose. What's the whole point to all of this? Okay, actually putting meaning behind what you're doing and doing it with real objectives. So I always say, and I always drill into everyone, you have the whole objective is to grow your audience, build your audience, get as many of your existing offline audience online. Why? Why should we do it? Well, the larger your following, the larger your reach. Keep in mind that across the board, your tweet or your Facebook post may only reach 20% of the people who already follow you. May only reach 20%. Because not everyone logs in every day. On Facebook, they don't even show you everything. Did you all know that?
Yes.
Because, particularly now because of their new ads. So, in order to increase the chance that whatever you put out there is actually seen by a significant number of people, then you're going to need to grow your audience all the time. There will come a day when you'll need to mobilize your audience for one purpose or another, either for a fundraiser, an actual targeted fundraiser with an end date, because your funding is being cut as a nonprofit, and all of a sudden, of course, you want to mobilize your group or your followers to help you. For one reason or another, there will come a time where you're going to need to mobilize them. So again, the larger your group, the better off you'll be there. And essentially, the main reason probably would be that for every tweet, for every Facebook post, an update throughout the entire year, it paves the way to the ask, right? What is the ask? What do I mean by that? You're going to make that ask, whether it is to come see your event, to come to your event, to participate, to donate, to buy, But everything you do is essentially building a rapport, building some sort of connection with your target audience, and a level of familiarity, so that when you do make that ask, you're in far stronger footing to make that ask and to get the desired outcome. So what is social media anyway? This guy here, anyone recognize him? Someone I like a lot, pretty much listen to everything he says. He's known mainly as the wine guy. Does anyone know him as the wine guy? Because he actually is in many ways a pioneer. He started a wine channel on YouTube, if you can believe that. And he has branched out and has become somewhat of a social media guru. He, being a social media guru, on his YouTube channel, put out a short video called "There is no such thing as social media." So said the social media guru. And Gary Vaynerchuk said that, and I happen to agree with Gary Vaynerchuk. There is no such thing as social media, says Filiberto. Social media is simply the term we use today for the internet as we know it, for what we're doing. It's not separate and apart, it's not something else. It is the internet. And I think that's one, common misunderstanding of social media. It's not something else. It is that thing. So, social media will grow in direct proportion to the increasing role that social and digital tools play in our everyday lives. And this is even more true with the advent of mobile technologies that can pinpoint our exact location. We're walking through the mall. In a matter of just, because now, starting with the iPhone 5 and every generation of smartphones henceforth will have NFC technology. Now, I always knew NFC to mean what? National Football Conference. I'm sorry?
Opposite of the AFC.
Opposite of the AFC, yes. Yes. But it's, in this case, it's called near field communication. The iPhone 5 has it, the other smartphones have it. And essentially, what this means is we're going to be walking through the mall at one point or another, because we're going to say, we love pomegranate smoothies. It's going to pick up that information. We're going to get a tweet or a post or even a text that was unsolicited. I was going to say, oh hey, by the way, there is a Jamba Juice not 20 feet from you. You can, if you go there within the next 2 hours, you can use this code to get 50% off. Now, your first feeling and reaction might be that you're a little creeped out. But your second feeling and reaction might be, yeah, I could use this smoothie right now. Yeah, 50% off. Did they say 50% off? Yeah. So that's coming, and these tools and these creations and social integration into everyday lives, it's only going to become further true, which means it's only going to become easier for us to actually reach our target audience and mobilize them. So the more people use social media, the easier it becomes for nonprofits to find their specific target audience, engage them, and make more effective calls to action based on the exact match. Social media goes a long way towards finding the needle in the haystack, because as opposed to a billboard, which maybe 1% of the people who see it are its target audience, whatever you put out at this point, you can actually make it so that 100% of the people who see your message, particularly your ads, are going to be its intended audience. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that 100% are going to respond, but at the very least, 100% will be the intended audience. Okay? Is your mind going away yet? Kind of wild, right? So, a little group exercise. We can do it all together or at your table, but we'll just do this in 1 minute. Here's something that's, I think, very important. Whether you're a nonprofit or not, whether you're an association, regardless, everyone who uses social media for business purposes has a target audience. Talk among yourselves really quick in 1 minute and identify who are or what is your target audience or audiences. Can you all do that? Okay, it's 1 minute real quick. You all have to talk here. So, you can sit down, you can sit here if you want. You guys have their target audience? So I'll call it.
I remember she was like, that's actually my dad. His target audience is mostly anybody that can specifically people who want to get off of
I'm going to call them.
so you can point your exact underrepresented.
So that's all we have information.
Last year, but it was.
Okay. All right, everyone. Let's get back here. Let's get back. I'm going to call on some of you randomly. I'm going to call on some of you randomly so that we can
get yourself
identify, so you can give me some examples of your target audience. So if you look back here, does anybody for sure have a defined target audience?
You know, so you don't need the shots unless you.
Well,
he does.
I'm from the University of
Okay. UT, all right.
College of Law.
Okay.
And we actually have segments of audiences. One is
You can have more than one target audience.
our alumni for donations,
Okay, there you go.
prospective students,
There you go. That's good examples.
current students,
Very good examples.
and the local law community, lawyers,
Perfect.
bar
Nailed
associations.
it. Nailed it. Any examples here?
Ours are kind of the same, donors, volunteers, and clients.
There you go. Okay. Anyone else have a good example? Target audience? Okay. Those are all great examples. That's essentially it. You all get it. No one has but one target audience that I can think of, but you're going to use each platform, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, to reach all of them. By the way, here's a tip here. Do not create multiple Facebook pages for your diverse audiences. It defeats the purpose. We already know, again, that you're only going to reach 20% of any given audience with through one Facebook page. Why dilute your ability to reach them by breaking up what could potentially be, let's say, 1,000 Facebook followers into just 200, right? That means 20 people are going to see it versus potentially 200 with your larger Facebook, right? So don't do that. Don't create it. You're going to have to reach them all through one means, and that's okay if your donors see what your students are up to, right? Or if your clients or if your volunteers hear the message that you have for your clients. It's all good. They're all on board in one way or the other. And so that's one helpful tip that I have for everyone. Okay, so yeah, you're looking for this elusive person here. Your organization needs to identify its target audience before it decides what to say. And this is, of course, an exercise that you all should have, probably already have gone through. Your target audience will include those nearest to you. That's another, I think, common mistake that bewilders me a bit, especially for a large organization or institution, that they don't actually make their own call to action to those who are in journal, right? I mean, after all, employees and board members, they're all a very important target audience. And if you have hundreds of employees, why wouldn't they want your Facebook post or Facebook updates? Why wouldn't they be part of that? They should, but you actually need to make the ask, as I said earlier. You need to put it out there to them and make sure that they are in the loop. So you'll have to, as you'll have to ask who and also where, which is to say, you can identify who. We've already gone through that. But how about where? Where's the best place to reach them? Okay? Here's a little, these are hot off the presses. These are stats that came out not even 10 days ago on the users of social media in the year 2012. Okay? Comprehensive analysis of all social media users among internet users. The percentage of Americans who use the internet, I believe it's up to 89%. 89%. It's a good amount. Pretty amazing. But in the proportion of internet users who use social media, here they are. Okay, I assume you already saw that. Across the board, in practically every case, there's a disproportionate number of women who use social media versus men. And that's true on Facebook, that's true on Twitter, that's true in just about every example. Age group is probably not surprised that younger folks disproportionately use social media, but it's basically true across the board. There's a significant share or a majority across the board other than folks 65 plus. Education level is basically the same across the board. Where someone lives, also very close. The only difference being rural to urban. And even there, it's not necessarily a huge difference. Income levels, also about the same. I have to believe that those 30K and under, it's only because that's disproportionately younger people. That's probably it. Other than that, it's about the same across the board. Okay? Here, this is a screenshot, but if you can see it, I thought this was very helpful. Look for each of the different leading social media platforms, particularly those that we would recommend for your use, and look at the audience that it most often attracts. Those who disproportionately make up their heavy users. You want to Google here? Probably get a better sense of seeing it. Did you already know that Pinterest, it has from the well, here's a little fun fact about Pinterest. Well, actually, before I say this, who here has as their target audience mainly women, or particularly women, and women who are either not youth but adults, middle-aged. Yeah? Girl Scout, yeah. Yeah. So Pinterest at one point was 90% women. 90% women. It's now, I think, down to like 75%, right? But still highly female dominant. But here's the thing. Here's a fun fact about Pinterest. It also became the fastest growing website of all time. I didn't say the fastest growing social media platform. I said the fastest growing website of all time about a year ago. Okay? And which is pretty ridiculous how fast it grew out of nowhere. So for example, I say that because there's a good example. If, let's say for example, the university wants to target just about every large corporation or group or institution has an affinity group of one sort or another for outreach purposes, whether it be women, it could be based for an ethnic group, it could be a disability group. But if it's women, for example, one place where you would definitely would want to find, and you want to use social media to reach them, the one way you want to do it, I would suggest would be Pinterest. It just makes a lot of sense to do that. Now, let's say your target group are teens, or teenagers. Anyone here have teenagers as a target group, right? Young adults, teenagers, maybe early college years, right? Okay. Well, listen to this. I don't know. It's not up there, but can anyone guess the one medium That would be the best way to reach them. The best way to reach teens, they kind of skipped all of this. They kind of see his Facebook as lame. And the number one way to reach them is by texting. So if you can actually reach, if you actually want to reach teens, then number one, learn to speak their language in text talk. And engage them. Have them opt in. In other words, they have to volunteer them their own cell phone number so you can actually text them and communicate with them that way. That would be the one best place to do it.
Question: Why Latinos on Instagram?
Well, I can ask that for all of them, but generally speaking, for every group, I can ask why women for Pinterest. There's a myriad of reasons, but the fact is that there can be an analysis or an explanation for a lot of it. I can venture to guess, right? But I think generally I would say the best analysis for what it says African Americans, Latinos, women is that when Instagram sort of showed up and became big, there was already everything else sort of set the table for Instagram, including the rise of mobile, because Instagram still is largely a mobile-based platform, and Latinos and African Americans in particular, and youth, because it's also still very much youth-dominated, Instagram, are heavy users of mobile. So I think it mainly has to do with that, the fact that it's a mobile-based platform, and also has been largely driven in large cities, whether it was New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, and these are places where you're going to find the largest share of Latinos and African Americans. So I think it's mainly because of that, not necessarily because there's something about it that's particularly appealing to these ethnic groups. I don't think that's it.
So, question back on the best way to reach them being by email, but if it's an audience that you haven't reached somehow, what's?
So the question is, what about if it's an audience, and correct me if I'm wrong, what if it's an audience that you haven't reached yet, how do you reach them? That's great, we're going to get into that in a bit. You're an advanced student, I can tell, and we're going to actually get into that in a bit. But essentially, you want to use the tools that are already at our disposal, social tools, to your film. I should probably get back over there then, instead of moving around. I'm sorry. See, I usually tend to move around, but we're gonna get into how to use these social tools to actually pinpoint your audience, mainly through ads, through Facebook ads, and even AdWords, Google AdWords. So yeah, nobody wants to be this guy, right? Not literally, not figuratively. No one wants to be this guy. So here's the thing. I'm going to go through this very quickly because, again, it's more of a how-to. I try to stay away from how-tos, but kind of defeats the purpose to talk about the stuff we're going to do in a bit if we don't cover this. Folks, if you're a nonprofit, make sure you update your GuideStar profile. Everything and anyone who's out there that can actually provide you a grant, particularly tech companies, and particularly Google, they're going to want to, the first thing they're going to do is check out your profile on GuideStar. And because they are extraordinarily understaffed, their job one is to eliminate anyone who raises a red flag. So if the things that what you say in your initial application doesn't jive with what's on GuideStar, then that's going to raise a red flag. They're going to probably deny your application. So first thing first, make sure all that is up to snuff, that it's accurate and up to date. apply for Google for Nonprofits. It is a grant that doesn't provide you a cash reward, but it provides you goods that are equivalent to, what would it be? It would probably be more than $250,000 a year. And I don't know why any nonprofit in the world would want to turn that down, right? And we're going to get into what it entails. Make sure you outfit your everything with your social media icons, because everything, any type of presence you have, whether it's offline or online, if your target audience are going to see it, then they should also see that that you're on Twitter or Facebook, and you should make it as easy as possible for them to find you, right? So this is what GuideStar looks like. This is a screenshot. As you can see, they have different tabs. They're going to want to look at your information. Make sure that everything is up to date. This is Google for Nonprofits. This is what the current website looks like. As you can see, there's a blue button there in the middle of the screen. You're going to hit that button. This is the application. It's very simple. They streamlined it to make it as simple as possible. Okay? You need to have your EIN, your federal EIN, and check off all the boxes, and that's basically it. You're going to get a premium YouTube channel that big blue chip brands pay tens and thousands of dollars for. Okay? Premium brands. Think about household names, right? Target, Chevy. Okay? They have to pay tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a premium YouTube channel. And every nonprofit that gets this particular brand gets it automatically. So that's one of the huge values of social media. One of the other common questions I get is, really, is it worth it? I'm like, look, here's the thing about social media, okay? One thing for those of you who have a business background or have an MBA or studied business, one of the common themes is always scalability. You have a good idea that works, that's making money, let's say, you of course want to make it as scalable. Can you actually multiply that so that you can actually have the same? Well, here's the thing about it. Social media gives you the tools to all of a sudden have a microphone the same size as the big boys. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing else in business that gives you that right off the bat. So it gives you an opportunity to have a microphone that's as big as the big boys. Now, the only difference is, okay, they also have a budget to invest in the PR wizards that know how to say all the right things, right? Versus the nonprofit volunteer who's wearing 4 hats. Right, and can't find the time. But see, now you, at the very least, have a microphone that's just as big. It's now up to you to, of course, cultivate that audience and cultivate best practices in what to say, how to say it, and how to reach them, so that you can use the microphone as effectively as they do. As you can tell, or as you can see there, can you see that? You actually have a donate button on your YouTube channel. A donate button right there. What does that mean? That means that you can develop a compelling video with nothing less than your iPhone that you can then edit very easily on YouTube. YouTube now has an editing feature within it, so you can very easily edit your video. Make it a tearjerker. They see the video, boom, they can give right then and there. Why is that better? Why is it a good idea to have a donation button on your YouTube channel? This is the Clinton Foundation's YouTube channel. What is a premium YouTube channel? What does that mean? You see how they have the skin in the back, the customized skin? That's a premium feature. Okay?
I'm assuming you can limit does it show other videos? And that's something we run into all the time. Inappropriate things we don't want associated with, like related videos.
I think that's something you can contact the YouTube